Welcome our next presenter, Meghan Chayka, who's going to present on rush and non-rush contributions at a player level. Meghan is one of the most impressive people I've had the opportunity to know. She is the co-founder of Stathletes, which is a hockey data and analytics company which provides hockey insights to over 22 leagues worldwide and has scaled to the highest professional levels across North America and Europe. She was awarded the Top Young Entrepreneur of the Year award by the Ontario Chamber of Commerce and featured on the insert cover of the Hockey News Power and Influence edition for last year. She's represented Canada on trade missions to Germany and Portugal and was keynote speaker at the first Women's Entrepreneurship Conference in Lithuania and Moldova. Did I say that properly? Okay. Meghan was a panelist at the NHL's first Advancing Equity Summit, CHL's Top Prospect Hot Stove, an inaugural board member of the Podium Project, and appeared on the TVO Kids, quote, "When I Grow Up," to promote STEM to young women. She is also a data scientist in residence at the Rotman School of Business, University of Toronto. Please join me in welcoming Meghan.
Thank you, Austin. So I feel like I'm just the opening act for Micah. Where is he? Is he here? Okay, and I need Andrew in on this. Where's Andrew from SMT? So next time we need to chip him and see his efficient route. Because Micah, how was it? Good, bad? You made it. So just a little bit of background on Stathletes, because I feel like I get these questions all the time, like I'm some sort of intern at the Arizona Coyotes or I'm completely out of hockey. So we are a hockey analytics and data company, officially incorporated for 10 years. So I expect a big party in December. So we've been around a long time, iterating on technology, trying to be better and faster. Ton of depth in the event collection that we do. Try to have the lowest latency, best accuracy, and put a lot of our time, money, and effort and R&D right back into making the game better. And I think our product and what we do reflects that. So here's actually a project that I did for the Olympics, and it's women's hockey. That's one of my big pushes as well. We have an article in the IHF coming out probably in the next month on it. So if you could retweet it, share it, say we want more women's hockey data, I would really appreciate that. The last article had 700,000 impressions, so I think there's a market and I want to do a lot more. I met with a couple of engineers in September thinking that we just do something fun. So we're having R and Python workshops for beginner up to advanced to get more people, diversity and inclusion in sports analytics. It snowballed into a hockey hack day in Canada, so I think we're up to now 5 locations. We have a lot of NHL teams on board, most of the Canadian teams. We're going to do draft data. It's going to be very open and public and collaborative. So if anyone's interested or wants to come to it, please let me know at the end of my presentation. So now we're going to get to exactly what we're trying to do, and I'm going to skip over a few of the key methodologies just because we're in a little bit of a time pinch, but we're very happy to field your questions after. So for the definition, an opportunity that occurs within 4 seconds of a controlled zone entry without the puck dropping below the goal line. Some interesting qualities of rush shots. At 5-on-5, rush opportunities account for 27% of shots and 31% of goals in our data set. The shooter on a rush opportunity travels up the ice at an estimated speed of 14 miles per hour between possession, gain, and release, as opposed to only 4 miles per hour on non-rush chances. So a big difference. As well, rush opportunities following an offensive zone pass are 2.3 times more likely to convert and 5 times more likely to face a non-set goaltender. So very important distinction. Here's a couple I'm going to skip over quickly, but just know that volume and quality of rush chances have little to no relationship, so that allows us to do our model. And the objective of it is to evaluate individual contributions to rush shot volume and quality, both offensively and defensively, and provide measures of uncertainty, which is very important. And it's the last 3 years that we're looking at full sample set from the NHL. But we also want to know how wrong we are. I mean, I think the best thing that everyone in this room would understand with hockey analytics is everyone wants that answer. They want the players ranked. They want the exact answer to their question. Should I trade this player? Who's better? And we know that there's a lot of uncertainty and noise with what we do. So without understanding how uncertain we are, we fail to determine if measured differences in our statistics are meaningful. Even worse, we might be overconfident in our results and increase our risk in decision making. So for this model, we're doing a mixed effect regression. It models the rush generating process and allows us to simulate outcomes. It also produces context neutral measures of rush contributions at the skater level with uncertainty, and models the underlying distribution of NHL skater talent. So I could go through all these assumptions, such as skater effects are multiplicative, but I'll hit these two ones, and that's extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. So we've tried to be extremely conservative in the statements in the model that we're doing right now. And also, a very key one is NHL skater talent can be modeled by a log normal distribution, and you'll see that. So league average, most skaters make a small impact one way or another, probably what we expect. A small portion of skaters are exceptionally bad. I'm sorry if you have them on your team and you're sitting here right now. A small portion of skaters are exceptionally good, and we'll see some exceptionally good skaters here tonight. So that's the good news of this story. So now looking at the variables, the target, so for rush chance volume model, it's the number of rush chances created for each continuous stint where the same 10 skaters are on the ice. Predictors, duration, zone, score situation, period, you can see them up there. For the quality model, everything is the same except the target, expected goal value for each rush opportunity. For this, I wanted to look at that the home team generates 1.02 rush expected goals for every one rush created by the road team. However, as home teams gain a lead, they generate fewer and fewer rush chances compared to their opponents. The reverse is true for home teams who are trailing. These results make sense, as trailing teams are more likely to take risks. So you'll see that in this slide. So getting towards the result, you can see that zone starts aren't the same in a continuous amount of time. And to look at rush XG effect distributions, you can see the defender's rush defense has a smaller gathering around that 0%. But we're going to zone in on this rush offense for forwards. So you see this is plotted as a histogram. Now, you might think that's a mistake. So there's someone on that tail end, a very exceptional player. Is that who expected this player? Aren't analytics great? I was paid for by the Edmonton Oilers today. I'm joking. It's Connor McDavid. You guys are far too gullible. And you can see when you actually rank it and look at the intervals, he is far and wide. Even his interval overlaps with very few people. So you can confidently say Connor McDavid is an elite player. And you can also say the interesting thing about this is a lot of the intervals overlap. So you don't necessarily know with certainty that you can rank them. So some of them are interchangeable, from Johnny Gaudreau to a Riley Smith. And now I hope we have time, but we're just going to watch a couple of Connor McDavid's shifts, because I feel like let's give the people what they want, right? I think one's actually from a couple of nights ago that Greg actually cut for me. And thank you to Dom and Neil and Jeff, and Dom especially for this presentation and this content. So really just, an elite player on the rush, probably going more than 14 miles per hour. And these, of course, he puts Arizona right at the end, eh? My team also has a sense of humor with trolling me during presentations. So if we look at these histograms or look at these bar charts, we can also see that indeed when Connor McDavid is on the ice, it's not a mistake, it's just Connor, and that's a reflection of that model. Also interesting enough, the gray skaters, when you look at effect on 5v5 rush expected goals for, includes 0. This means that we can't rule out the possibility that they are actually league average. John Wilson is great. And this is going to go directly to Dom and supposedly Kyle Dubas. Notice how Tavares is the worst in the NHL at expected on effect on 5v5 rush expected goals against. So that's a PSA. And now a really interesting question. So we saw how different Connor McDavid was from the rest of the NHL. Recall that our model estimates the distribution of NHL rush talent. And there is a 95% chance that Connor McDavid's impact on the rate of rush expected goals is above 52%. So given the distribution of rush talent, how often would we expect to see a skater as dominant on the rush as McDavid? Conservatively, we would expect to observe a rush talent as good as Connor McDavid once every 5,000 skaters to play in the NHL. There's only ever been 7,000 skaters in the NHL. So we may never see another rush talent like Connor McDavid in our lifetimes, which means if this was the Bible, we might not see a McJesus again. And this, I think we have time, so we'll go to constructing team chaos. Clearly, I did not make this slide. What combination of NHL skaters would maximize the rate of total 5v5 rush expected goals for and against? And there you have it. So this could be, team chaos East versus West in the NHL All-Star. That would be my pitch to the league. And don't be afraid to approach us if you're interested. I mean, I've sort of breezed through these slides, but we have a lot more on our methodology and all of the detailed event tracking data, as well as XY coordinates that we track in real time for the NHL. Thank you.